Agwalto, blessing of long life. Ekabo, welcome. Adopoy Ori Eglin. We thank the ancestors for their wisdom. In the Odu Owonrin Ogbe, Ifa is telling us that we should forgive somebody who's slighted us in any way. It's using the example of someone who borrows something, doesn't give it back, and who is willing to replace it. We should accept that offer. In other words, negotiate a settlement based on a dispute. Brings good fortune. Insisting on aggravating the dispute will not be productive, in very simple terms. He slighted me. I avenged. A hen spilled my medicine. I broke her eggs. The calabash of assault will not break. The measure of assault does not tear easily. In other words, once you play tit for tat, the aggravation and the back and forth just escalates. The calabash used in borrowing corn is the one that should be used in repaying it. Cast divination for Owonrin. It was going to tie beads on Ogbe's daughter's neck in the olden days. Owonrin planted a cherry tree and borrowed a bottomless starch pot from Ogbe. He used it to protect the growing cherry tree from goats on a rampage. The cherry, within a short period of time, grew and germinated extensively. Ogbe, however, was in need of the starch pot and went to Owonrin. He asked for it from Owonrin. Amazed, Owonrin, what did Owonrin do here? Wondered what could be done. Your pot is the one I put on the cherry tree. Owonrin said the tree has started to germinate. He explained Ogbe refused blatantly, saying he wanted his own particular pot and did not want a replacement. That was how the tree was filled. It was hewed down in spite of the extent of its germination to remove the starch pot. After some time, the daughter of Ogbe was ripe enough to get married, and it is a must that beads must be tied on her neck before she would be married. Here, however, Owonrin is the major custodian of beads, of all kinds of beads. Ogbe quickly ran to borrow one from his friend. Owonrin gave Ogbe the bead he desired. She tied it on her neck and got married. On the seventh day, the bride, however, has to go back to her father's house, such that the beads would be pulled and cut off her. Owonrin then refused blatantly to allow them to cut his head from the neck of the lady. Why, they queried. Owonrin was hell-bent. He refused to allow them to cut off his beads. They drew the neck loop beads and the girl on the girl. It could not be removed. They pulled it down. Her shoulders were too wide to allow its passage, and that is a must that the beads must be cut off on that day. What could we do, they asked. Have you forgotten the one required? Does the calabash of assault break? In other words, he's engaged in the tit for tat. You did wrong to me, I'm doing wrong to you. Or would measure of assault tear easily? The calabash used in borrowing corn is the one that should be used in repaying it. If a hen spills one medicine, one should break her egg. He that assaults one should avenge the assault. Remember, I have cut off the cherry tree the last time, so let us also cut the one to remove the beads. That was how the child was beheaded, and the bead was removed from the decapitated head of Owonrin. So it's just showing very clearly that the back and forth, you did it, I did it, we can't compromise or forgive, does not end well. Irashe,